bad penny. Right, we're going to start exactly the same way that we did yesterday. So I'm just going to brush my brows up with a spoolie. This is just one on the end of the Catrice brow pencil, same one that I used yesterday. I will give you the name. God, my brows are looking very strange. Okay, so this is the Catrice Slimmatic Ultra Precise Brow Pencil, waterproof, 1.5mm tip. The shade is 035 Ash Brown. Now, I'm going to do something slightly different to what I did yesterday. So here, it's got like this, it does have quite a fine point, if you can see that. Just roll it up a bit there. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to try and flatten it slightly. So I'm just going to tap it onto my dressing table to give it like a sharper edge, and then I'm just going to fill in my brows. Again, drawing a line underneath and just creating the shape that I want. The plan for today is to create a sort of like slightly alternative, little bit glamorous everyday work look, because I feel like I need a new go-to look for 2026 for days that I am working, but I don't want to spend forever figuring out what I'm going to put on my eyes or what lipstick I'm going to wear, etc. So yeah, work wearable, slightly alternative, makes me feel glamorous. That is the aim of the game. So again, I'm only putting a line underneath here. Not incredibly happy with how this is coming out, to be honest. I don't know if it's changed because of like the cold temperature or whatever. It's coming out a little crumbly. There, that's a bit better. So I've just got like the basic shape filled in on the bottom, and then I'll do the same along the top. And these are the sort of parameters for my eyebrows, essentially. And yes, I'm aware this looks completely crazy. This is what the spoolie is for. So I'm just going to soften any edges, a bit like you would blend your lip line, I suppose. And then we're going to fill the middle of the brow also. Again, just softening that line. And differently from yesterday, I'm going to use the Essence Thick and Wow Fixing Brow Mascara because it has volumizing fibers. I'm going to start on this brow because it needs slightly more filling in at the front. Before I use this, I'm actually going to wipe off the top part because a lot of product comes out and you can actually see the little volumizing fibers there as well. So this gives you serious brow volume. I think this is what the Glossier Boy Brow wants to be, and it's just not. That's still a really good product, but if you have very few eyebrow hairs like me, it's not going to do as much for you as this one, but it depends what kind of look you're going for, you know. I haven't put anything else on my face other than like basically just serum and moisturizer, so if I make any errors, it doesn't really matter. I can just wipe it away with a Q-tip. Then onto the other side. This is a really nice color as well. I feel like it's the exact color of my hair. Let me try and find it. What color does it say it's in? It doesn't seem to say anywhere on the packaging. Hang on, it's on the lid. Caramel blonde. Weird. Okay, I'm definitely not blonde. But yeah, it seems to be the color that fits. The bottle is definitely more of a taupe color, but we'll roll with it. That's the only thing I find with cheaper brands is the color names can be off, the color descriptions, the swatches online. I believe there's been a big issue with the new Maybelline foundations and their swatches. Same with the new Revlon skin tint that they've brought out. The swatches online are like wildly different to what they're like in person. And the not the Maybelline one, the Revlon new skin tint, I just saw Geek Out of Water review that. You can't even see the color of the product inside the bottle. It's almost like cat medicine or something. Like there's just a plain bottle on the outside. You can't see through the packaging. Yeah, this brow is always a bit more tricky. I don't know why. I feel like it just doesn't, nothing grabs the hairs at the front of this brow. I don't know if they're all just stuck to my face or something. Right, so brows are looking a little bit intense, but that's fine because all I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean up with a Q-tip anywhere where I've gone down too far or I just need to tidy up and make it a bit more perfected, really. And this is the beauty of doing your eyebrows first. It also means that you don't have any foundation stuck in your eyebrows that can cause issues with products not performing properly. So again, I'm kind of just softening a tiny bit at the front where I might have applied a little bit too much. That's definitely my issue, not the product. And then I know eyebrows are meant to be identical, but you kind of want them somewhat similar. Maybe I've made them a little bit too square there at the front. Okay. I may or may not go in and adjust the tails. I feel like eyebrow products in general just use random names for shades. I'm brunette and my eyebrow gel is called Noir. It's brown. That's hilarious. Yeah, okay, there's definitely a bit of a trend of like eyebrow products just being random. I totally agree with you. Okay, so the next thing that I am gonna do, let's see, let's put some eye primer on and then we can make some decisions about what kind of everyday eye look I want to go for. So this is MAC Painterly Pro Longwear Paint Pot. This is still available as far as I know. What I love about this is not only does it prime your eyelid, but it kind of creates this blank canvas effect. Like, so it's not quite as thick as a concealer, but as you can see, it's definitely neutralizing a lot of the blue and purple tones on my eyelid. So it's kind of doing two steps at once because, you know, otherwise I would need to put something else on top of the primer because this all of this discoloration is going to affect how my eyeshadow looks. So if I want the best performance out of my eyeshadows or eye creams or whatever it might be that I'm using, eyeshadow sticks, I need a base that is going to give me some bit of coverage. So this is like a 2-in-1. Also, the color itself is actually quite pleasant. Like, I wouldn't mind going out with just this on. Like, it's almost my skin tone, but slightly darker. So it gives me the tiniest bit of definition there. So if I was like running in a rush or something, I woke up late and I had like 10 minutes to get ready, this wouldn't be a bad option. Like, I do feel like it makes me look a little bit more put together than without. So that's the MAC Pro Longwear Paint Pot. It took me so many years to try that as well. And then I finally got it and I was like, yeah, I can see why everyone is raving about this. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do then, well, we might as well start with eyes actually. I need to make a decision about what palette I'm going to use every day. And I think I'm going to use, because I was thinking about this earlier before I made the video, I'm going to use the MAC Cool Neutral palette. It's a 15 pan eyeshadow palette. Now this is discontinued, but there are plenty of them available online. If you go on Vinted, people are selling them for like 15 quid. I think I got 2 of them and something else for like 30. It was insane. I have the warm one as well. Maybe I should show you just to compare. I would say of the 2 of them, I probably do prefer the cool one, but they are both really, really beautiful. So this is the warm palette. So as you can see, it's a lot more yellow in there, although you still have some kind of rosy tones up the top that I would definitely use. There's an awful lot of these kind of light tones though. I think that's my biggest problem with this palette is that there just isn't enough darkness. And then, hang on, let me try and open the lid of the other one so I can show you. Then by contrast, we have our MAC Cool Neutrals palette. Now again, these are both pre-made. I did not make these palettes. Okay, they are discontinued, but they are still available on places like Vinted, Depop, etc. And quite far below the retail price. Like this one is almost untouched. This one, the only shade that someone hit really hard was Brulee, and then everything else is pretty much unused. So I'm going to use this one today because my skin is more on the cool side. Plus I have a feeling that like warm toned eyeshadows are just kind of on the way out. Like I feel like everyone's sick of it now. We've had it since what, like 2016, 2017, the kind of warm obsession. So there are some limited edition shades in here, but there are also some permanent ones. There are also some shades that used to be permanent but are now discontinued. So like lots of famous names in here: Sweet Allure, Blackberry. What else is in here? Brun, I believe that's still available. It's permanent. That's a great eyebrow shade actually. So this is a multi-use palette. You've got Black Tide in here. That's that sparkly black in the bottom. That's been really popular for many years. Silver Fog and Cumulus are down the bottom here. These grey tones, they were permanent. They're now discontinued. Cozy Grey as well, I think, is one along here. So there are a lot of famous shades in here that you might not be able to get anywhere else. Right, so just having a look, the color that's sort of screaming out to me is this one called After Dusk, which is a Velux Pearl shade. I think cool shades look the best. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think I'm gonna have to try After Dusk, but before I do that, I'm gonna swatch. I'm actually gonna swatch this entire column here because all of these sort of dark mid-tone colors are screaming to me. So that is After Dusk, Deception, and Pearled Earth. And I think they're all Velux Pearl finishes. So hang on. We've got After Dusk. Oh, that's really nice actually. And then, oh, okay. This one maybe isn't a Velux Pearl. It doesn't feel like it is. It's a bit tougher, this middle one. Deception. And then the last one, Pearled Earth, is another Velux Pearl. The thing I like about these is that they're super soft and blendable. So there we go. What did I call this one? Of After Dusk, Deception, and Pearled Earth, I think it was called. So yeah, really pleasant, easy to blend. You get the most beautiful diffused smoky eye, I think, with MAC eyeshadows. Are they the most pigmented in the world? Not anymore. They kind of used to be the leading brand when it came to eyeshadow pigment, but they are really soft and blendable. I have to say this middle column is really calling my name as well. So the ones in there are Sun Tweaked, Crushed Clove, and Cumulus. However, I would say that they are all frost finishes, so they're not usually as pigmented as a Velux Pearl, but let's give them a swatch anyway. 1, 2, 3, and I'm actually just sort of swirling those onto my fingertips to do a swatch. I'll put those further up my arm. Oh, okay, we've got some really pretty colors here. I probably wouldn't wear this one, but these two, really, really pleasant. Really nice colors there. And again, I've just done a light finger swatch, nothing intense. I'm not really sure what to go for now. I think I'm actually going to go with Deception, which is this middle one here from the first row. So that was the middle one there on my hand. I'm going to try that out as almost like a one and done shadow if I can get away with it. Just to start out, I'm going to use a flat shader brush. This is just a random one from an Urban Decay palette from many years ago. And I'm just loading that up on my brush here. And we'll just see how it applies. Like, we'll just see what happens. I'm hoping to get a really simple, easy, but sophisticated looking everyday look. Oh, wow. That's coming out really pleasantly, actually. Wow. Okay, I actually really like that one. Sometimes you just don't know until you try something on how it's really going to look. I'm going to take that just above the crease of my eye. It almost looks like it's two eyeshadows in one because it looks sort of warmer and more gold on the lid and then sort of grayer as it goes into the crease, into the shadow of my eye. Let's see what happens over here. I thought I'd actually have to work a bit harder to get the pigment to show, but it's actually showing much better on my eye than it was in the swatch. Curiouser and curiouser. Gotta build it up a little bit more just to see if it changes. Okay, it's getting a little bit more gray now as I'm building it up. Why is that inner corner a little bit gold? That's so confusing. I don't know. Okay, well, I think that's really nice, okay? I know a lot of people don't like gray shadows, and it's actually a color that a lot of makeup artists stray away from. But I really like gray, and I think it suits cool toned skins really, really well. I'm gonna take one of these shades over here, like as a transition. I'm thinking this middle one here. So it's the second shade in the second row, which is Cozy Gray, and it's a matte shade from MAC. This is, again, I think a color that maybe it was either released in like millions of different collections or it was actually at one point permanent. It's also not gray. It's like a beige, like a beige with gray in it, I would say. It's absolutely not a gray. Yeah, you can see how well curated this palette was with how easily these colors are blending into each other. Like it's just seamless planning. Like you can tell a makeup artist designed this palette or multiple makeup artists as the case may be. This actually really reminds me, this cozy gray shade really reminds me of Tusk from the Biba palette by Natasha Denona. So if you have that one, you basically have a cozy gray dupe, so there's no need to go out and try and find it. But obviously if you're a bit weird like me and you love collecting discontinued eyeshadows, you'll probably get it anyway. Oh my God, I forgot to tell you. So yesterday I was on Vinted, like I always am, hunting for MAC rarities and things like that are missing from my collection. I found a 22-year-old eyeshadow palette. No, no, sorry. It was from 2002. It was a 24-year-old eyeshadow palette, and it was from like the Perverted Pearl collection or something from MAC. It was insane. I was like, I can't believe that somebody is selling this. I can't believe somebody still has this. I mean, the palette had been used, like, don't get me wrong, like, someone had obviously loved that palette at some point, but I just couldn't believe that a 24-year-old palette was on sale. I wonder if that person even realizes how long they've had that palette. 24 years. So it was one of MAC's quads, like before they started doing like a lot of limited edition packaging with collections, and like some of the shades in the collection were permanent. The reason I managed to figure out like what collection it was, like, because I wasn't collecting makeup when I was 11, was I just googled the name of the quad, Perverted Pearl, and it came up on Temptalia. Temptalia had made a post in 2009 about this 2002 collection. So I was just pretty much blown away by that. I'm just blending this and I don't even really need to blend it. Like, it blended so easily. I'm really impressed with that. I always say this, but just so anybody else knows that doesn't normally watch my videos, whatever is going on with like the lighting in this room, it makes my eyeshadows look like they're different. And like, okay, sometimes maybe they are a tiny bit different, but actually this eye always looks a bit darker for some reason, but in reality it's actually not. So that's eyeshadow for now. I might add a really small amount of Pearled Earth, which is this like beautiful gray color. I did swatch this one. It was the last one on my hand. I'm just going to put a tiny bit of that on. And I'm going to use a slightly smaller, more dense brush. So I'm going to use this pencil brush. It's a really old Sigma one, just to kind of build up the corner. This color in particular looks a little bit like Night Divine. Night Divine was permanent, now discontinued. That I think was a Velux Pearl, but I think that might have had a little bit more blue in it, but very, very similar. And I'm just being quite lazy here. I'm not doing anything special. I'm just putting a little bit of that into the outer corner of my eye for a little bit of definition. I'm going to try and do this look without like eyeliner, because this is the kind of look I want to be able to put on when I'm in a rush. And I know I'm really, really taking my time with it now, but obviously I'm talking to you guys and I'm doing everything for the first time and like swatching stuff, etc. Oh God, I definitely have eyeshadow products and makeup products that are more than 11 years old. Good for you for keeping on top of it. But yeah, I've definitely got some relics in my collection. I don't use them all. A lot of it is just kind of keeping stuff for memories. But once a hoarder, always a hoarder of makeup. Okay, I'm going to take a tiny bit on the bottom lash line as well, just to make my eyes look a little bit larger. Okay. And again, once I've done concealer and stuff, we can tidy this up. It doesn't need to be super neat for now. Just sort of throwing it on there to get the color laid down. Okay. Again, it's not crazy pigmented, but it's easy to blend, which is the most important thing for me. Also, when you're as pale as me, the most pigmented products are not the best. Like the crazy insane pigment of like, say, the NYX Buttermilk blushes, like I can't use those. They're actually way too intense. I'm just wiping down the small amount of fallout. There's not much, to be fair. And given the age of these eyeshadows, these are probably about 10 years old, there's actually not much fallout at all, and they're still performing really well. But yeah, like super intense blushes, I can't use them. They're way too pigmented for me. Okay, so I have had this foundation for absolutely ages and been trying to use it up. This is the Luminous and Smooth foundation, Fit Me foundation, I should say. This isn't actually available in the UK. I had to get this on Amazon, I think. They sell the matte and poreless here, but not this one, which is really annoying. It lasted me a really long time. It's really nice packaging. It's got like the proper pump, and it wasn't very expensive. Although I'm looking at it now and I don't think the lightest shade is even my winter shade, so maybe we'll go for something else. So yesterday I used the Fenty Eavesdrops. That was really nice, and that's a really good match for me. I often use the Shiseido Revitaliscent Skin Glow. That's a really good one as well. But I'm trying to think like what's gonna match me right now because I am the palest of the pale. I've actually really been enjoying the Misha Perfect Cover BB Cream, but that's probably a little bit more coverage than I actually want right now. I'm gonna try and use the e.l.f. Halo Glow Skin Tint, but my biggest problem with this is I always put too much on because the dropper isn't really, well, a dropper. It just kind of goes and loads comes out. I'm gonna have to wipe my hand and get rid of those swatches before I do that though. And I don't know why I've skipped mascara. I just kind of have. Like, obviously I'm going to put mascara on, but for now I've skipped it. So I'm going to give this a good shake because it does say to do that. That's probably too much, but anyway. And this is in the shade number 1, Fair Neutral. I believe the first couple of shades are all a similar depth. However, they've got different undertones. Right. God help me now. Like, I'm not even squeezing this and it's coming at 1, 2, 3. Let's start. 3.5. Let's start with that much and see how it goes. This is how I end up using too much. So, comes out on its own. Don't even need to squeeze the tube. Right. I'm going to buff some of that into the brush. And again, just to make sure the coverage isn't too heavy, I'm going to put some of the e.l.f. Power Grip Dewy Setting Spray on my face. The finest mist ever. Put a bit in my hand too. Lovely and cooling. The lightest shade of the Misha BB Cream was so dark on me. Well, I've got shade 13 and it's just about right. Was that the one that you got? Because some people seem to think that 17 or even 21 are the lightest shades. So just double check your bottle because like it's rare that I meet people that take a lighter shade than I do. So have a look at the bottle, or maybe it's like not the best batch. What would you be in, like MAC? Because I'm NW5. Just could you give me any like frame of reference, I wonder? Oh my god, we've got 6, 7 going on in the comments. I feel so old. So yeah, this is the e.l.f. Halo Glow Skin Tint in the shade number 1, Fair Neutral, and it's pretty much a bang-on match for me. I have a hard time believing that this is actually a skin tint. Like, okay, it's not a full coverage foundation. There was a lot of hype about it being kind of like super full coverage. It's definitely not. But I would say it's more like a medium coverage foundation. Oh wow, you are super, super fair. I'm trying to think of things that would be lighter than that. Like I have had a couple of products be too light for me, just so I can be of help to you. Let me think. Um, I've got C0 and W0 actually. N0 was too dark for me. So I don't know why, but I can't wear N0 in face and body. So I wonder if either of those would be a better match for you. In fact, do I have my bottles here? I do, yeah. So this one, I don't have N0 to show you, but this one is C0. So it's a little bit too yellow for me, but I can wear it. And this one is W0. I'm not sure there's going to be a huge difference like between them on the camera, but in real life, this one is lighter. The W is better and it's more cool toned. So maybe next video, I'll use this one for you so you can have a look. If I don't remember, just remind me. I also really rate the House Labs foundation if you like something with a bit more coverage. This one I've got in the shade 015. They do have a white one, and then this is the first like actual foundation with any color in it. So that one could work for you as well. Any of the Shiseido foundations in Alabaster are extremely pale because I've got that one and I've got that one. Yes, I bought a tester because I'm an idiot. What else have I got? The Essence one is pretty good as well. The stick foundation. Essence have a new foundation coming out. I'm really excited. It's meant to be a long wearing, hydrating foundation. You're just a corpse. Yeah, well, I'm here for it. I like the corpse look. I don't like bronzer. I don't use bronzer. Contour, gray contour only. Right, anyway, let's have a little look at some other stuff. There's so many foundations I can't wear that I would love to wear because they just don't have a shade for me. I do actually have a review of the House Labs if you want to go and watch that at any point. It's a couple of months ago, but like it is very, very light. I do think that maybe they probably shouldn't start with a complete white. Like there should be something that should be ever so slightly more color than a white, but not as dark as this one. Not that this is in any way dark. Like you can see it is pale even for me. It's definitely a winter foundation. I'm trying to think of anything else then. I've got the lightest one in the Elf Glam Satin, but to be honest, I think that's a completely overrated foundation. Like it's good, don't get me wrong, but it's not fucking earth shattering like people made it out to be. There was an awful lot of hype on that foundation. Right, so I'm gonna spritz my face again, partly just because it feels nice and partly to help everything sink in. That's actually looking really nice on the skin, and as you saw, I put like what 3.5, 4 drops, and it is looking really good, so I'm quite happy with that. Right, the next thing I am going to do then is a little bit of concealer. I am going to use the L'Oreal True Match Radiant Serum Concealer, and this is in the lightest shade. I think it's, yeah, 0.5D. I always forget where to look for the shade on this because it's actually on the lid. Okay. So I only put these in strategic places where I'm really dark under the eyes, because if I put too much of any concealer on, it'll tend to crease. I am nearly 35 now. I am getting some fine lines around my eyes, etc. I have a slight mark here. It is getting better though from a spot that I, had to pick at because that's just who I am. And I'm also just going to put a little bit where my foundation tends to wear away. So the tip of my nose, the sides of my nose as well, and on my chin. I used to kind of put it a little bit more here, but it just tends to sink into my smile lines then. And I prefer, for the majority of my face, just to use the same brush that I used for my foundation, and I'm pressing it into the skin rather than swiping away. And that will get me the best coverage and the most seamless blend. Can always go in with a beauty blender afterwards if you want to as well, just to make sure everything is really, really seamless. I find the older that I'm getting, the more work I have to put in to make my skin look really flawless, make sure everything's smoothed out, etc. When I was like 20, I would literally just slap on Revlon Color Stay and it looked amazing, but those days are gone. My skin has definitely gotten drier as I got older. However, it's not as dry as when I was on hormonal contraception. Nothing dried my skin out like that. Like that was the worst. So now that I'm not on that, it's not as dry, but I mean, it's -7 outside here in Manchester. So it's pretty freaking cold, and I haven't been the best at looking after my skin either during the winter. Right, so using my ring finger, because that is the lightest touch, I'm going to just very carefully push that in under the eyes. And the heat from your finger actually helps the product to adhere and almost melt into the skin while giving you the coverage that you want. Very important for me to get right into this corner. I'm very, very dark and very blue in that corner. I don't like to use color correctors or anything like that because I just feel like the more products I layer on, the wrinklier I'm gonna look. So definitely just a light touch, as small an amount as possible, only putting it where I really need it, which is really kind of just in this very inner corner. I know I'm blending it out this way, but that's more to just use the remnants to shape my eyeshadow slightly, all these little ways of making things easier for yourself. You've got to be really careful as well not to sort of crunch up your eyes or your face, if you know what I mean, or wrinkle up your eyes while you're doing this, because it takes literally milliseconds for those fine lines to come in. So that's how the concealer is looking now. And again, I'm just patting it in because I've already creased my face because I'm talking to you, but it's looking okay. So I'm going to take my trusty Catrice Under Eye Brightener Setting Powder. I'm going to tip a little bit of that out into the lid, as I always do. This has probably been the most consistent thing in my routine, like this year, like 2025. Okay. And I'm just using a little triangular powder puff to press that under the eye. Not everybody has to set their under eye, but simply due to the shape and sort of size of my eyes, my under eye area, etc., how long my bottom lashes are, I have to set under my eyes. Otherwise, I end up looking like a panda. It doesn't matter what eyeliner I use, what eyeshadow, what mascara. I've tried everything over the years. I've had this problem since I was a young teenager. It will just crease. Right, so I might have set that with powder prematurely. Oh, something is sticking a little bit there. Why is that stuck there now? Hang on. Let's spritz. I have just spritzed my nose. I know, I totally agree with you. 30s are not the one when it comes to your best skin life. All I'm trying to do is just take care of my skin as best I can, and like giving up alcohol for 2026 I think is one of the best things that I could do for my skin. And I've noticed that since I've drank more water in the last few days, I'm thirstier than ever. It's like my body's finally realized that it's actually thirsty. So I know like the best way to hydrate your skin is obviously just to drink water. Tea does count. I googled this. So apparently if you are drinking just regular English breakfast tea, black tea, or any other kind of tea, chamomile, green tea, whatever, although they have a mild diuretic effect, most of it, the contents are just pure water. There isn't that much caffeine. All counts towards your water intake for the day. So the more tea you drink, the more you're hydrating yourself. Okay, so I said I wasn't going to do like any liquid eyeliner, but I might do a little bit of pencil eyeliner just along the top, just something really simple. Now because we've gone for like a grey eye, I don't want to use brown. I'm pretty sure this was yesterday as well. I didn't want to use brown either. I do have a black actually. This is just a Rimmel Scandalise black kind of gel pencil. I'm gonna do literally just kind of touching the roots of my lashes with that. So I don't necessarily want to look like I've used an eyeliner. I just want my eyelashes to look thicker, and it just prevents it looking gappy at any point. So literally that's all I'm going to do on both sides. If I decide I need more, I can add that later. But so far I'm pretty happy with how this sort of work appropriate, slightly alternative look is going. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some mascara. This is Essence Lash Princess Sculpted Volume Mascara. I'm not sure if this is actually any better than the original one. I would say they're kind of on par. My body is lucky to get whatever hydration I can be bothered with, and she'll be great. Excellent. Yeah, there's definitely days in my life that are exactly like that as well. Although I've had like 2 cups of tea already this morning, I did have a coffee and now like the thirst is unbearable. But we'll get to the end of the video and then I'll go and grab something. It's not my fault that I'm just obsessed with coffee and energy drinks, okay? Like I'm just a very, very anxious millennial and those are my go-tos. So again, just using my Shiseido eyelash curler. To be honest, this was 26 quid and I don't know if it was really worth it. It's like really, really hyped, but I swear I'll never forget the eyelash curler I had when I was like 18 that I accidentally dropped down in my handbag and stood on getting off a bus. This is nice. Does it make a difference? Yes. Is it life changing? No. So if anyone has an eyelash curler that they feel truly changed their eyelashes forever, I want to hear about it. Because this one, 26 quid later, yeah, I'm not going to say it's something I can't live without. I'll put it that way. So yeah, I saw that Carmel Nicole put up a video. I haven't watched the whole thing. I've only watched part of it about like products in 2025 that you kept raving about or that you couldn't leave, the house without. And like, I just don't have that many strong feelings about all the makeup I tried in 2025. Like I definitely tried lots of really good things, but I don't feel like there were that many that stood out like to a huge degree and that I would never put down now or couldn't replace. So yeah, I would love to do the tag, but like I just don't feel like I'd have that much to say. There's definitely again great products, but I feel like the market is so saturated now that like nothing is unique anymore. Like everything can be replaced by something else. So, you don't really have to go out and buy that sort of 40 or 50 pound foundation that's been released by a luxury brand because some brand at the drugstore is probably going to dupe it in the next couple of months. That's how I feel anyway. I'm really excited about some of the new Essence launches though. They are releasing like some, I think glossy, hang on no. Essence are releasing a hydrating longwear concealer and foundation. And then Elf have like some sort of a glossy lip balm, lip oil hybrid, like in a stick, which looks like the Fenty Gloss Bomb sticks, which I absolutely love. So I might pick up a few of those. Some of the shades look quite nice. I got a flat Korean eyelash curler on Amazon for like a tenner. Ooh, that sounds really good. So I don't have hooded eyes, but as I'm getting older, like obviously my brow is dropping. So like I have to use techniques now for winged liner for hooded eyes that I didn't have to do before because they're slowly dropping over time. So yeah, that could work for me. That's a good one. A Korean eyelash curler on Amazon. I'll have a look because what's wrong with having multiple eyelash curlers? I do still need to curate like a travel makeup bag, and the only thing I'm worried about is products going off. Also, the next time I travel is in February, and that's not going to be a typical travel bag because I'm going on like a hen do with like loads of really glamorous people. Oh, thank you for the brand name. So my makeup bag that I pack for that trip is not going to be a typical one. It's going to have like falsies and all kinds of cool stuff because we're going to be going out in Valencia, which I'm really excited about. Okay, so yesterday I used the bronzer and contour liquid camo product from e.l.f. So as I used that yesterday, I'm going to use the Halo Glow one today just to kind of switch it up and get products being used. So this is the Halo Glow Beauty Wand Contour in the shade Fair. So this one is ever so slightly less pigmented, but in my opinion, that's actually quite a good thing because it's harder to overdo it, I suppose. And I'm kind of just slapping this on. Again, this one blends quite easily, so you don't have to be too careful with it. Just to warn you as well, like if you get this and you squeeze it and you think nothing is coming out, it comes out all over this little domed applicator. It doesn't just come out the top, so it's probably spilling out the sides. So like I'm actually using the side now to put more contour onto my face. And then I probably put on too much, but hey ho. I'm going to use whatever is left without squeezing it to do my jawline and make me look slightly younger than almost 35. Again, I'm not crazy about the way that my chin sticks out, particularly like at the side. So hopefully that will help to contour it a bit. I am going to use the same brush that I used yesterday, which is this one. This is a Sigma and Samantha Ravndal brush. She did a collection with them, but I'm actually going to spritz both my face and the brush again because I feel like I applied quite a lot. So this will dilute it slightly, help everything to blend in a bit better. And again, that's just the e.l.f. Power Grip Dewy Setting Spray. I do really like this one. I've got through like nearly all of it. For a while I was like, oh, it's just meh, but actually I always like my makeup when I use this. So yeah, long live the e.l.f. And it's so affordable as well for a setting spray. Like even the L'Oreal one is actually quite expensive here in the UK. What is everybody's favorite setting spray? Do you use setting spray? I feel like as a dry skinned person, I kind of have to have a dewy setting spray. I don't really know how I survived without one when I was younger. Again, I was as dry, but my skin probably didn't have as many lines where the dryness was sitting. Why do contours always look so much warmer on me than they do on other people? Like I've seen other people use this particular one and it looks fucking grey, which is exactly what I want. And then on me, it kind of looks brown. It doesn't look bad. It still looks like a contour, but it's not as chiseled as I would like. Okay, I've definitely got more on this side. Right, we need to even that out a bit. It might be easier just to wipe some of this off. To be fair, this is a really soft product, and again, that's why I kind of just threw it on. If you put too much on, it's very easy to wipe it off. So I do really like that one. Okay, so I think we're nearly there, to be honest. I don't want to add too much. I actually think I'm going to fill in the tails of my brows a little bit with this L'Oreal Faux Brow Pen. Mine is leaking a bit though, which is really annoying. I'm going to put a little bit on the back of my hand just to make sure that there isn't too much coming out. Yeah, that looks good. And it's just like the brow tails, so sort of like from the arch downwards. And the reason I'm doing this is to kind of decentralize my face and make it look less less long and a little bit wider at this point. And again, it kind of pulls my eyes outwards so that they don't look as close set as they really are. So I'm actually quite happy with that one. I think I'm going to leave that one there. And now I'm just going to do the other side. Just these tiny things that even I just feel personally make a difference. Even if they don't make a difference really, it makes me happier. So I'm going to do it. And there's one little hair here that's sort of sticking out. It needs to be groomed back in. Yeah, I think that's okay. Right, so that is brows done. And that is a really nice color as well. I didn't say which color it was. This color is... Oh, well, half the writing is starting to rub off now. That's not the best, L'Oreal. I can't find the color. I think the color is actually rubbed off, but it's probably like ash brown or taupe or something like that. Okay, so yesterday I used Margin blush, so today I want to use something else. I do have some really random things in here. Oh, bit of news. Essence are also either reformulating or replacing, hopefully not, these nude baked blushes. So I hope it's just a reformulation rather than a replacement, because I absolutely love these. And you know, look at the amount of product there you're getting for like £6. It's a huge pan. It's even heavy in my hand. How much is this? This is the shade Pink Flush. This is 0.24 ounces. I can't tell you the grams because it's actually worn off the front of the packet. But I'm just going to put that on now with this blush brush. The blush brush. If you're using these as well, like particularly this shade Pink Flush 02, you don't really need a highlighter. There are little micro shimmers. It's kind of a metallic blush, which is kind of fashionable at the minute. I would say more of a satin, like the MAC satin finish. Would be very similar to this. You don't actually need a highlighter. So if you're someone with a lot of like texture on your cheeks, these won't highlight that because they're not as super intense as something like a metallic Rare Beauty blush. I think they're very much meant for people with rather perfect skin. Okay, I've actually put quite a lot of blush on. I don't know if you can tell. The kind of the white from all the snow is very much reflecting up onto my face, so I don't know what you can see and what you can't see. I'm going to put another layer of the Essence mascara on. I'm using the MAC setting spray now, and I love the mister, but I want to try other ones. For me, like I go through a lot of setting spray, so like I do love Fix Plus. I think it's really, really good, but it's expensive. So I've been using the e.l.f. one. I've got a bottle of the Urban Decay, which I like to finish my makeup with, so I'll probably use that in a minute. And I've also got the Milk one, which I kind of think is just a more expensive version of the e.l.f. one. In my opinion, they do the same thing. They hydrate the skin and they blend all of the makeup together really well. But yeah, I wouldn't say that like setting sprays are something that you have to spend loads of money on. But I do really like Fix Plus, I'll give you that. So this second coat of the Essence, as you can see, is just really adding thickness and volume rather than length. You do kind of have to be careful with this one that you don't get clumps though. And again, they're easy enough to comb out if you do get one or two, but it's not a mascara that you can keep layering and layering and layering, like 2 coats and that's pretty much it. Probably depends on the thickness of your lashes. I wouldn't say I have the best eyelashes in the world, but they're not the worst either. I wish they were a little bit longer, but it is what it is. Okay, then my bottom lash mascara, I used the e.l.f. Lash Extender yesterday, so I'm going to use my other favourite now, which is the MAC Extended Play Giga Black Lash. I believe this is a waterproof mascara as well, but like this bristle brush just gives me the greatest length of any I've ever really tried. You will find eyelashes that you didn't know you had. That literally happened to me yesterday when I was doing my makeup. I was like, wow, there's this weird eyelash growing out of the side of my eye. Discovery moment. Okay, other side. So obviously I've been online now for like nearly 43 minutes. If I was not talking and knew exactly which products I wanted to use, I could probably do this in 15 or 20, which I realize for some people is still like quite a long time to spend on your makeup for a work day, but like for me it's kind of not. Like if I just get up, I'll be able to spend my time on that. I don't have any small kids or anything, so I can spend more time doing my makeup if I want to. The main thing for me is it's not even about time, it's just removing the uncertainty. Like I like routine, I like structure, and I find it just kind of lets me know where I want to go. I'm just using that brush as well, there's not much left on it, to comb out my upper lashes as well and just give them ever so slightly more lift. Gets rid of any clumps, and again I can kind of pick out any weird random hairs over here. Oh my God, a grey eyelash. I didn't even know that was a thing. That's hilarious. Wow, I've only just started getting grey hairs. I feel like I've been quite lucky in that I've gotten away with it for a long time. Whereas like some of my friends are like completely gray and dye all of their hair. I think my sister got her first gray hair at like 26. So like to get one at nearly, well, I was like, I guess 34 and a half. I didn't discover it right away. So to get them coming in at nearly 35, I've done all right. I was blonde for a really long time, and you'll probably see that like in my earlier videos. I dyed it back because my hair quality wasn't very good. I was losing a lot of hair, but as you can see, it's kind of going reddish now. So I need to get it toned. I'm not going to dye it again because I do want to actually go back to my own root color, which is this sort of like ashy brown. You can see I've got loads of little baby hairs coming in here. They just can't grow fast enough, in my opinion. But yeah, this red, like I've tried to tone it with purple and stuff, but it's just not really working. So I don't really want to have brown and red hair, so I'm going to get that toned pretty soon. It is sort of amplified a little bit by this kind of screen and setup, again with the kind of pinkish walls, but yeah, I don't want to have reddish hair. Not that I think it looked bad, I want to get out of this dyeing cycle. I just want to have my own hair color and that's it. So I would be quite happy to go into work like this. The blush is probably a little bit full on, but I can kind of tone that down. And again, I'm going to keep it away from the center of my face a little bit more. And again, that just kind of widens my face a little bit. And you can always pat over it with your foundation brush as well if you've gone, you know, too far with the contour, the blush, whatever. I find blush of any brand will fade rather quickly, and I'm not going to get into the habit of doing a cream and a powder blush. Like, enough is enough. I've spent enough time on my face and enough money on it. As you can see, my lip is still a little bit split because I am a lip biter, especially in my sleep. I will bite my lips. Plus they're extra dry now from the horrible weather we've been having. The last thing I'm going to do is just put something on my lips. Yesterday I used the Kiko lip liner and I used a L'Oreal lipstick. So I'm going to do something different for today. I'm just kind of having a mooch through here and seeing what I could wear. I like to feel a little bit special when I put on a lipstick, or I want that to be like the finishing touch in my makeup. So I'm kind of looking for something that's going to make me feel extra nice as I walk out the door. So I'll just show you what I'm looking at, really. I don't know why I'm not showing you. There are a few things missing because they're in my handbag, but this is like my lipstick collection. It is mainly MAC lipsticks. I have got some Dior in here. I've got some Black Moon Cosmetics as well, but that's like a deep brown, so that wouldn't go for today. I've got my Lisa Eldridge lipsticks in here. I've got an Hourglass one. Just kind of random bits and bobs, really. I think I might do something very simple though. So let me just find a lip liner. I'm looking for MAC Whirl, and I'll probably be able to find every other lip liner ever except that one. So let's have a look. I've got Dervish. That's the closest I've found so far. Dervish might do the job. I think we're going to have to stick with Dervish. We'll see. Okay, so Dervish is here. It's just this kind of like pinky color, kind of like a natural pink. I'm going to line my lips with that just to make them look slightly bigger. I don't really do the massively overlining thing. It's not really me. But I have noticed that my lips are a bit thinner now that I'm getting older. God, am I going to talk about aging in every fucking video? I don't know. It's the only time I actually have to be quiet is when I'm doing this. So I like the tone of Dervish, but it's just slightly pinker than I actually want. It's not showing up as pink as it really is in real life here. Yeah, I really did a number on this side, didn't I? So that's just given me a little bit of definition. I'm then going to go in with Spiced Petal. This is from Flower Beauty. This is a dupe for the original Pillow Talk. Just a little bit in the center. And then to top it off and keep me sort of moisturized, I'm going to use the Maybelline Lifter Gloss in the shade 002 Ice. I do really like the formula of these lifter glosses. Lip gloss has come a long way since I started wearing it 20 years ago, so it's not sticky anymore. It actually feels mildly hydrating. Is there something in this? Yeah, There's hyaluronic acid in this, so that would explain it. I hate the fucking packaging though. Like, look how little product you actually get, and then this big clunky heavy thing. I also think it's false advertising in terms of how much you actually receive. How much do you get? This is 5.4 mil, which is probably standard enough, but it looks like you're getting loads and you're not. So I do have some nice sparkly ones that I got as well. So these were from Catrice. These were the diamond glaze ones. Maybe I should have used one of these. They're kind of similar. Maybe I'll put a little bit of the pink one in the center, just for no other reason than to use it. They are quite sparkly and holographic. I'm putting on a bit more than I actually need now, just to make it show off on the camera. And that's what that looks like. I've kind of destroyed the doe foot now, but oh well. Okay, so I think that's it. I'm just going to spritz my face with some Urban Decay. That's just the original one, probably the best one. Not sure what's happening with their sort of rivalry with Scandinavia now, because the patent has ended, so we'll see what happens there. Oh, I haven't tried her lip glosses. To be honest, like lip gloss is not something I'm really willing to spend money on. To me, lip gloss should be like a cheaper product, but I did have a Dior one time and it was the most spectacular gloss I ever had. So I totally get it. I just don't want to get into that habit of buying expensive ones. I love her lipsticks though. They are so, so nice. But again, I have 1,000 lipsticks. Well, okay, not 1,000. I probably have over 50 and I almost never use one up. So I really need to stop buying things that I'm not going to finish. The only things I really need to repurchase are things like mascara, powder, brow products, and foundation, concealer maybe, like that's it. So I'm gonna go not on a no buy, but I'm gonna go on a low buy this year and see how I get on, because I have so much crap to use up. I think the next video I'm gonna do, like I actually do want to do a long form, like proper video this week, is either things I've finished or things I'm throwing out because they're kind of shit or gone off or whatever. So kind of a declutter, but also kind of a review in part as well. So not just going through my drawers like last time, actually talking you through, I used all of this up because, or I'm throwing this out now because, etc. So there's quite a few hair products I really didn't get on with this year. And also like a few makeup things where I'm just like, why do I still have this, you know? Right, guys, so thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it to the end. Well done. This is the look that I came up with for something that I could wear every day to work. That would be ever so slightly alternative because it's got that kind of grey, edgy look. And then it still makes me feel pretty and put together. I'm hoping if I did this by myself, it wouldn't take more than 15 or 20 minutes. I've just been like chatting like crazy as I've been doing it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed this, and I've really enjoyed chatting to you today.